A list of the most influential people in history wouldn't be complete without Sir Isaac Newton. His laws are tied to nearly everything we observe in everyday life. They help us understand how cars operate, how baseballs travel, and how practically anything moves. But Newton had a secret side, one that reveals itself when we look deeper into his extraordinary life. By his mid-20s, Newton had already invented calculus, an incredible feat for someone born to an illiterate farmer. He never met his father, who died 3 months before Newton's birth on Christmas Day, 1642, in the small English village of Woolsthorpe Manor, Lincolnshire. A premature baby, Newton was so tiny that he was said to fit inside a quart mug. His survival was a miracle in itself. When Newton was 3, his mother remarried and moved to a nearby village to live with her new husband, a wealthy clergyman. Newton was left in the care of his grandparents, a separation that left deep emotional scars. In a list of his sins he would later write as an adult, he remembered a violent outburst from childhood, threatening to burn his mother and stepfather's house down. Newton was a curious child, more fascinated by machines than by friendships. At age 9, he carved a working sundial. By 12, he was enrolled at a local grammar school. His signature is still visible on a windowsill at the King's School. When his stepfather died, Newton's mother tried to pull him out of school to become a farmer, a life he dreaded. Fortunately, his schoolmaster persuaded her to let him continue his education. That decision changed history. Newton eventually gained the knowledge needed to attend the University of Cambridge in 1661, paying his tuition by working as a valet. While studying ancient Greek philosophers, Newton was skeptical of their teachings. He wrote in Latin, "Plato is my friend, Aristotle is my friend, but my best friend is truth." He was determined to uncover the truth through rigorous experimentation. Though his undergraduate years were unremarkable, extraordinary circumstances were about to set the stage for his greatest achievements. Shortly after earning his bachelor's degree, the bubonic plague ravaged Europe, killing an estimated 1 in 4 Londoners. Forced to leave Cambridge, Newton returned to Woolsthorpe Manor, where isolation led to a burst of scientific discovery. In solitude, he used a prism to show that white light, sunlight, was composed of many colors, debunking Aristotle's belief that color was merely a blend of black and white. To prove his theory, Newton built a reflecting telescope that used mirrors instead of lenses, allowing for a clearer image. Far riskier, however, was the time he stuck a sewing needle into his eye socket, curious whether altering the shape of his eye would change how he saw color. Outside his family home stood an apple tree, the famous apple tree. Though there's no proof an apple hit him on the head, the sight of a falling apple prompted Newton to wonder, could the same force that pulls an apple down also act on the moon? He reasoned that gravity kept the moon in orbit around the Earth, and that the same force could explain the movement of the planets. The math available at the time wasn't advanced enough to describe this, so Newton invented a new kind of mathematics, calculus. When the German mathematician Gottfried Leibniz published his own version of calculus in 1684, Newton claimed he had discovered it 2 decades earlier. But Newton had kept his work secret. He feared criticism. When Leibniz appealed to the Royal Society for recognition, Newton, then the Society's president, used his influence to make sure the committee ruled in his favor. Today, most historians agree the two developed calculus independently. In 1667, Newton returned to Cambridge as a fellow.